Thanks for joining us on the news at 7. I am Nifemi Oguntoye. We'll begin in Abuja, where the National Economic Council has recommended the immediate withdrawal of the proposed tax reform bill currently before the National Assembly. This development was conveyed by Governor of Oyo State, Seyi Makinde, on Thursday after the conclusion of the NEC meeting held at the presidential villa in the nation's capital. He says this decision was made for the benefit of the entire country and emphasized the need for further consultations regarding the bill. Recently, concerns were raised by the Northern Governors Forum and other cross-section of Nigerians. President Bola Tinubu and the Federal Executive Council had endorsed new policy initiatives to streamline Nigeria's tax administration processes. The federal government says the new laws are meant to enhance efficiency and eliminate redundancies across the nation's tax operation. The reforms emerged after a review of existing tax laws since August 2023. The National Assembly is considering 4 executive bills containing these tax reform efforts. Meanwhile, the Group Chief Executive Officer of NNPC Limited, Mele Kyari, today briefed the Nigeria Governors Forum on key developments in its operations. Mele Kyari gave updates on the national crude and condensate production profile, the production war room initiative, and security efforts made to stop illegal pipeline collections and vandalism. Governor Hope Uzodinma, who briefed the press on behalf of the forum, said emphasis was placed on the role of the production war room to ramp up production and eliminate bottlenecks in Nigeria's upstream sector. He acknowledged the urgency needed to secure the nation's energy resources, improve efficiency, and build resilience.
It is our hope that things are going to be better any moment from now. We sympathize with our people. We know that there is hardship in the country. We also appreciate the reforms being carried out by the president. Our prayer is that as soon as possible, that the relief we are looking for should come, and how to fight cases of kidnapping, banditry, and activities of unknown gunmen. And we also committed to giving him support and to close the rank, very proper and better synergy, working at the subnationals to ensure that Nigeria is secure, the environment is safe, for not only the government, but also the private sector to do their businesses.
Moving on to a sad story where 10 people have died and 7 others injured after a story building collapsed in Ibadan, Oyo State capital. Residents who expressed shock called on government to take immediate action to prevent similar tragedies from occurring in the future. Senior reporter Olaide Oyewole was there in our report.
Residents of Jegede, Olorunsogun area of Ibadan were thrown into mourning after a dilapidated single-story building collapsed, killing 10 individuals and injuring 7 others. Members of the community confirmed the incident occurred around 12 a.m., causing widespread panic and leaving residents in shock and disbelief. They revealed that the building served as a makeshift facility for caring psychiatric patients, and one of the victims was a visitor. What I can say is that Wale came to visit a girl which he was dating when he met his untimely death. If he had not come, this wouldn't have happened. Although there is a limit to what the government can do, however, we would like to still implore the government to help us work on dilapidated buildings like this. The community was left traumatized, with victims, including children, laid to rest in a mass burial. Government officials described the incident as heartbreaking and pledged to take all necessary measures to prevent similar tragedies in the future.
That's why His Excellency Governor Seyi Makinde approved recently what I will call
building amnesty, whereby buildings in the state are expected to have a building approval. I can tell you without any search that this building affected doesn't have any building approval.
And government, our local government, through the director of works, will still be moving around and check some buildings which are not conducive for living.
The police, in their reaction, said it has put adequate security in place in the area to prevent hoodlums from taking over the incident scene. Olaide Oyewole, TVC News, Ibadan.
Olaide joins me now live from Ibadan. A very sad development. What updates do you have for us, especially with those rescued, and how is government reacting?
So, Nifemi, residents and family members are still finding it very difficult to come to terms with the fact that they have lost their loved ones. And for those who are still in the hospital, we learned that they are being taken care of, and they are getting adequate attention, medical attention. However, it is expected, like the government officials said in my report, that measures will be put in place, and that measures have been put in place to ensure that this occurrence does not happen again in future. Also, like one of the policies that was put in place by the Oyo State government is the online amnesty and land permit that was introduced about 2 months ago, that those who have their property and that they have not been approved should come and regularize their property with the federal, with the state government, so that they can tell them that this place that you have your property has been approved, and you have the right to have it there. So it is now high time that we expect the federal and the state government rather to ensure that they implement these policies adequately, and they ensure that these policies are made to these policies are well implemented for occurrences like this not to happen in future. Nifemi.
Is it clear if government is planning to conduct integrity tests on neighboring buildings and other distressed buildings across the metropolis?
Well, we were told by the Commissioner for Lands that it is possible that they come around to conduct integrity tests, but it was not confirmed if it is going to begin anytime soon. But he said that the house that got collapsed, he was sure that the house was not in appropriate, it was not an appropriate structure, and even approved to be where it was before the collapse, and that every measure that has been put in place will be implemented with the local government to ensure that events like this don't happen again in the state.
Senior reporter Olaide Oyewole live for us in Ibadan. Thank you for the updates there. Now let's tell you that electricity supply has been restored to some parts of northern Nigeria after 9 days without power. Many residents are rejoicing as the power supply brings little comfort to business owners who have already incurred significant losses. Senior reporter Larry Adeyemi reviews the blackout's impact in a region that was already struggling.
Economic and social life has not been the same in the northern Nigeria shortly after the power outage that lasted for days. The journey into darkness began on Monday, 21st until Wednesday, 30th of October. The Transmission Company of Nigeria explains that the line between Benue and Enugu was vandalized, while the connection between Shiroro and Kaduna was faulty. These explanations and promises of swift repair brought little comfort to residents and business owners in the affected states.
We are suffering, especially now we are just doing our business without gaining. It's not good. We are not happy.
We have to increase the price because we have to buy fuel to fuel our generator. So before we used to do it 500 naira, so now it has increased to 600 naira.
This is not the first prolonged electricity outage in 2024. The first major collapse of the national grid occurred on the 4th of February. The country's electricity supply network has since collapsed 8 times. The recent blackout was not due to grid collapse, but faulty transmission infrastructure. 19 northern state governors, after meeting on Monday, October 28 in Kaduna, urged the federal government to prioritize the repairs and ensure that a prolonged blackout never occurs again. Though electricity supply was restored late evening on Wednesday, 30th of October, business is continuing to grow as many had suspended operations under the weight of high operations costs.
It's not all about...
Adamu, the largest frozen food distributor in Gombe State, explains that he could lose up to 15 million naira in stocked items if he does not run his diesel-powered generator.
You are a businessman. You can't just remove the money from your pocket. It's not a charity organization. So therefore, anything you spend on the diesel, you calculate it and then you transfer it to the cost of your goods you are selling. So definitely the cost of the goods will rise.
We've seen the light, but the hope is still dangling. We are still skeptical of thinking that probably it may happen again.
Residents have suffered untold hardship and businesses recorded significant losses. The hope, though very slim, is that this sort of prolonged outage would not reoccur anytime soon. Landry Adiemi, TVC News, Gombe.
The Federal High Court in Abuja has dismissed a suit seeking to sack the chairman of the board of the Niger Delta Development Commission, Chinedu Ebie, over perceived wrongful appointment. Justice Joyce Abdul-Malik, while dismissing the suit filed by some aggrieved members of the Niger Delta communities, held that the suit lacked merit. Celestina Area has details.
The case of the plaintiff was that President Tinubu's appointee, Chinedu Ebie, was not qualified to head the board of the NDDC since he is not from the oil-producing area with the highest quantum of oil production. They had insisted that the appointment was in breach of the established provisions of the NDDC Act. Justice Joy Abdul-Malik delivered her judgment by citing Section 24 of the NDDC Act. The Act states that no suit shall be against any board member or senior management of the NDDC. She also held that the plaintiffs did not have the right to challenge President Tinubu for appointing him as the chairman of the board. As such, the plaintiff lacked locus. The suit was dismissed in its entirety.
Our matter was dismissed on 2 issues. On the issue of statute of limitation and on the issue that my clients don't have the locus. We submit that our clients are bona fide members of the Niger Delta and the court cannot just dismiss them, that they don't have locus.
The chairman of the board was regularly appointed by the president, was regularly screened and confirmed by the Senate and the House of Representatives, and he has settled down for his duties, and we think that this matter has been settled once and for all.
We want to call on the Niger Delta region and our people that sometimes they enjoy this pulling down syndrome. To desist from it, you have to allow the board to concentrate on the mandate in which the president have given to them. So dragging them from one court to another without taking your time to see what it entails, what is enshrined in the act.
Reacting to the judgment, chairman of the board commended the court for what he calls a well-delivered judgment and says he's committed to a holistic and sustainable development of the Niger Delta region. Celestina Area, TVC News, Abuja.